And I'm gonna share my screen. Does everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Rachel?
Okay, good night. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the February President's Council meeting. We hope you had a wonderful midwinter break. Of course, it ended with quite a bang, a bang of snow. So we're glad you're able to join us. Thank goodness we have our meetings virtually. So it's 6:33, and I officially call the meeting to order. We do have quorum. So the first item of business would be to review and approve the minutes from our January meeting.
Okay. Hi, I'm Charlotte, the recording secretary. Should I go ahead? I'm so sorry, Rachel.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just
Jenny was able to pull them up for you.
awesome, thank you. So we just an overview of last meeting, which was in January 26th. We went over some major topics. Started off with uh Dr. Dantona's remote learning snow day reflection. And it was a very successful transition from the first time we were remote, and approximately 90% of the students attended, which was great district-wide. Their access issues were resolved. Everyone was able to pretty much log on. And then there's a leadership update. We welcomed the new chancellor, Kamar Samuels, and acknowledged the outgoing chancellor as well. And priority areas that were highlighted included safe and inclusive learning environments, reading, academic rigor, and we talked more about MTSS, which is a multi-tiered systems of support. There's a council discussion about what they understood about this particular model. And Dr. D'Antona then talked about the three tiers of the MTSS implementation. Tier one included core instruction for all the students, and then moved on to tier two, which is targeted interventions. And then tier three were intensive interventions, which included small groups of one-to-one. I mean, or one-to-one, sorry. And the decision was that the district would expand these MTSS workshops and sessions for the public. Student achievement and district highlights included that there was a D25 basketball all-star game, this Queens North Spelling Bee. There was a Martin Luther King Jr. Day observation, as well as the 3K and pre-K enrollments that happened and will end in February 27th. So family engagement workshops were also talked about, which were math, social emotional learning workshops. And we also had a presenter talk about school food and nutrition service presentations and talked about things such as student meal experiences and satisfaction, menu quality, and family engagement in these food services. Christine also talked about survey announcement that encouraging council members to go ahead and remind their constituents about the winter survey. Actionable items included council members to distribute the winter survey as well as getting that completed. Jenny talked about the NYC Kids Rise Save for College program. So she presented information about how this is an automatic college savings account. And currently D25 participation was around 41%. And then noted that council members are aware of the program, but understanding it might still remain a barrier. So an actionable item was for council members and district leadership to go ahead and continue the messaging about this particular program about NYC Kids Rise. If there are any questions, we could direct them to Jenny, who's always accessible. And then Civics for All as well. There's a program expansion discussion. We talked about student voices being elevated to teach while teaching civic process and engagement. We also talked about SLT meetings, virtual participation. Someone had raised the concern about the parent with concern as to why the SLT meeting couldn't pivot to virtual platforms, but Dr. D'Antona explained that it was a state law that required SLT meetings to be held in person, but he would seek clarification. And then there's just a quick summary of the things that we just talked about to review. Anything else to add? And if anyone can approve their minutes.
I approve. Annie from JHS 185.
Thank you, Annie. And we need someone else to go ahead and approve the minutes.
We have someone in the chat who seconds the motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Pei.
Okay, if everyone's in favor of the minutes, if they could just write a thumbs up or I approve like Pei did in the chat, that would be great, just so we can have official approval of the minutes.
Thank you,
Okay,
everybody.
1, 2, 3. Okay,
Also,
thank you to everyone that participated, and thank you, Charlotte, for going over the for the minutes. Our next item on the agenda, I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is Sean Blanks from Dial a Teacher. He's here to speak more about that service, which is available to all New York City students. So, Sean, I'd like to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Excuse the background, but no work today. School's closed, so Dollar Teacher is also closed because it is a per session activity. So teachers don't work during the day. There's no per session in the evening. So hopefully we'll be back up and running tomorrow, which I have to go and clean my car off tonight, which is going to be a chore. But my name is Sean Blanks, and I'm here to just share information about Dollar Teacher. Which is a free homework help hotline, been around since 1980. So many of you have probably heard about it. We're actually, 40 in our 47th year of operation. So we've had generations and people who have used Dollar Teacher. Started in 1980. We average around 35,000 to 40,000 calls a year. And it's absolutely free homework helps. It's as simple as just picking up the phone and dialing the number. We service all schools, all grades. We even get calls from out of state because this particular program there's no other program like this, I don't think, across the country. And it is a joint partnership between the United Federation of Teachers and the Department of Education. We're actually open Monday through Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. on school days. The number is 212-777-3380, and I'll put that in the chat. But I'll send out some information and promotional items and flyers to you guys. These are actual New York State certified teachers who, they teach during the day and then they leave their schools and then they come to the call center and they field calls from 4 to 7. And like I said, all subjects, reading, writing, grammar, social studies, you name it. What happened? It started in 1980 as a program to help. They were finding kids, parents who working and kids at home. And it only started as an elementary school program. But then when the kids got to middle school, they kept calling. And then when they got to high school, they kept calling. So we had to subsequently add on all of those specialties and all of those grades. We have teachers who speak Armenian, Bengali, Chinese, French, Haitian Creole, Korean, Russian, Spanish, as well as Tagalog. We're in the process of trying to recruit more teachers with more languages, especially Arabic. We don't give answers, which kind of frustrates kids now because this is the generation of things really quick. They want it. So we just assist students in problem solving and reaching the answers on their own. This way they go back, to class feeling confident that they've completed their work and understand the subject matter. We actually have students that we follow from elementary through high school. Some call every night. If a student or parent is comfortable and they like a certain teacher, you can request that extension every time. We don't give out our names, and so you'll call and hi, this is Dollar Teacher extension, whatever the extension is, and you're routed to wherever you need help with. Remember, if the child needs help, it's just a phone call, and we just like to give children and parents an additional resource and support system we needed. It's like the idea is just to kind of strengthen the homeschool partnership, which is really necessary for your child to succeed in school. a lot of times when kids are, they may be working on a problem, and everything is different now. So, the math that was when I was in school isn't taught the same way. So, and a lot of times kids are, they get frustrated because, well, I got the answer, but there's always the method to get to the answer, which is what a lot of kids get penalized when they have to show their work, even though the answer is correct, but it wasn't the correct method used. So we're just dealing with a lot of different methodologies to go about solving problems. But if a student is working on, we have some of the textbooks, but a lot of times it's just easier if a student is working on something, they can just simply take a picture and email it or text it in, and so the teacher can look at it. But like I said, these teachers work in the school, so they know the curriculum, and yeah, it's really. I tell you the stories that I get from people who, oh, my mother used to, it's just because, like I said, we've been around since 1980. Since 1980. Yeah, I have like that's about it. I mean, I can like I said, I'm gonna send out some flyers, bookmarks, pencils, and pens to you guys, highlighters, stuff that you can also give out to parents and students, which will help as a also to have that, we even have like refrigerator magnets so that they'll have the number on hand. Well, any questions?
Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. If anyone has any questions, they can feel free to put it in the chat, or they can come off, you can come off mute and just ask your question to Mr. Blanks directly. Oh, they're asking for the phone number again.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat now.
Okay, great.
Sean, you mentioned that you're gonna send some flyers and magnets and pencils.
Yep.
Are you gonna send them to the district office or to all schools?
To the I'll send it to the office.
Okay.
Oh, I can, yeah, because yeah. How many schools are there?
We have 36 schools.
You can send me the do you have like I can send it to like with the parent coordinators in those
Yes,
schools?
yes,
So if you send me the list of parent coordinators and addresses, I can do it that way also.
Okay, it's on our district website. I'll send you the link so you can see how many schools.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, I think magnets are a great idea because, we at school have a flyer on the front of our PTA office, but that doesn't help parents when they're home.
Correct.
Doing homework with their kids that's at home, so that's a great idea. Thank you so much for offering those.
Absolutely, guys. And everyone, please be safe tomorrow.
You as well.
As you're heading out. I know, right? I'm like dreading going out cleaning this car.
Thank you, Sean.
Gone are the days when people just knock on your door. Hey, can you need any help?
Can I ask a question about the Dollar Teacher, Sean? Is there an extension for you said, sorry, it's available in different languages. Is there a specific or a what's the word I'm thinking?
An extension for, so in other words, if you call and you need a Chinese teacher and that person does not answer the phone, they will take the information and they will hand it over to the Chinese teacher, and then you'll get a call back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are no direct. The calls are routed by the teachers.
So maybe is a number already assigned specifically to that language?
No.
Okay.
Everything is done. Yeah, it's just a general number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then for us, we would love to explain this to our Chinese families. So they would just call the main number and then ask for, can I speak to a Dollar Teacher that speaks Cantonese or speaks Mandarin?
Correct. And then once they have that extension, they won't have to do it again.
Gotcha.
And I probably would, I don't have my sheet with me, but I probably could have given you that extension
Okay.
tonight. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Good to know.
No problem.
Sean, we do have a question in the chat. Is there help for all subjects or just the core math, ELA,
Every,
social
every
studies? and
subject, everything, whatever they're doing in school. Yeah.
Great.
Hi, Sean, it's Charlotte. Just a question, is the flyer that you're going to be giving also in different languages?
Yeah, we're working on that. Right now it's only in Spanish and English.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on getting them in the different languages.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And Sean, I'd certainly love to invite you to our Wellness Day event that we're going to be having a little bit later this year. Be a great
Okay.
opportunity to get that message out. I know you guys came last year. We're hoping to have a much bigger turnout than we did the previous year, but
Yeah,
certainly
just
welcome you, and we'll share the
absolutely.
flyer
Just
with you.
yeah,
So if you guys are available, it'll be a great time to get it out to more
absolutely.
parents.
Just shoot me an email. Absolutely, we'll look into it.
I will do that.
Yeah.
Great. Does anyone else have any questions before we move on in our agenda? And thank you, Sean, for being available tonight to speak with our district
You.
office.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Have a great night and be careful shoveling your car out.
You as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank everyone for your participation in that. Some great questions that we had for Dial a Teacher. Now I'd like to turn the floor over to Dr. Dantona for the superintendent's report.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Just excuse my camera being off. I'm not in the best setup here. It's very, very dark. So you'd almost be looking at a blank screen anyway with me with the camera on. So please excuse that as I share my presentation with you guys tonight. Okay. First and foremost, I hope all of you guys are good and safe. And I know these types of storms are not common. And unfortunately, we've had to bear the brunt of two of them inside of a month. So, unfortunate, but New York manages to make their way through a lot of these things. And afterwards, we say to ourselves, how do we do that? And it winds up working out as good as it possibly can. So, I'm hoping you guys are safe, hoping your children are safe, and we'll get moving back into school tomorrow. So a couple of things, just to save the date, if everyone can put this on their calendars, especially our PTA presidents, it's really important for me to see as many of you attend this event as possible, and then spread the word when we make it accessible. So this will be our second annual Wellness Day, and when we talk about wellness, this is through the space of mental wellness, physical wellness, SEL, and we have a huge number of vendors and organizations that helped us last year that we do intend to have back. Last year we had the New York City Soccer Club present, the United States Tennis Association, New York City Lacrosse Organization. It was just a really, really nice event. Unfortunately, the number of people that said that were going to come did not. So my hope is this year with just getting that message out sooner and increasing the number of people that we're going to allow to reserve tickets will be increased so that the number of people that have it available to them increases as well. So last year we only did it because it was the first time we were doing it. We only made it available to about 300 people. This year we will increase that number with the hopes that everyone comes, but if people don't, to at least say that we get half of the group will make me feel better about having all of those guests present and available for our district community, because there will be a multitude of resources. We had physical therapists there, we had psychiatrists there, we had psychologists there, all different types of organizations. We had a gentleman, a young kid from college who developed what's called the Turbobo doll. It's a weighted dog that many of our schools actually have to help support SEL wellness. There's just so many different opportunities there for our families and for our kids that I'm hoping we have as many people as possible take advantage of it. So if you haven't noted it, please note it in your calendar, and more will be following in the form of flyers and giving everyone clarity around what will be there. Okay. Civics for All, I'm always going to mention and talk about our soapbox speeches. At our last CEC meeting, we had a young gentleman from PS22 speak to us about mental health, which was really appropriate given the areas that we're talking about at the district level and the CEC meetings, to really consistently connect with our families around ensuring that our kids are good and safe, physically, mentally, as well as social emotional learning wise. So this young man talked about it through the lens of one of his own family members that really struggled mightily with mental health. And what was so amazing about this youngster is that first he came dressed up with a little bow tie on, stood in front of an entire group of parents and members through online, and spoke to us in both English and Spanish. It was just a really amazing job by a fifth grade student to come in front of everyone and share what his mindset was about. And my goal with all of this is that over time we start developing these into really big community-based projects where we're connecting everyone to different resources based on something that is actually happening within our community. Not that just kids are just writing about things like, in the past it was about global warming, right? Not that global warming is not important, but these are becoming much more personal to children and the things that they're seeing around them. So each time we have these meetings, I'm going to talk about, recent presentations, and I'm hoping that you back at your own schools are talking about these things to really emphasize the importance of student voice and raising these things further beyond just the speech. Game 24, this is something that we did for the first time this year. We had a Game 24 tournament hosted by a PS209. Big thanks to Principal Egan and her team. I have to tell you, this is the first time we've done it, and I can promise you we're going to continue it because it was awesome. The flexibility with thinking that our children demonstrated was really incredible. And if you've never seen Game 24 before, kids get a little cardboard cutout with 4 numbers on it. And with those 4 numbers, they have to use multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction to come up to the number 24. So they have no idea what numbers will be put on the card. But as soon as they see it, they have to tap their hand on the board saying that they have the expression that will bring them to 24. And I have to tell you, some of the kids, the card barely touched the table and they were already tapping. That's how quickly they were able to manage the numbers that were there. And it was just really, really cool to see. Last year we had PS209 actually went to a state competition and won. And 499 also went to that very same competition and finished in 3rd. So we want our kids to get more exposure to this because it really does support problem solving, critical thinking, and all the work that we would want inside of mathematics. And for you as parents, just so you know, there is a Game 24 app that kids can put right onto their phones or their iPads, and it really, really does support math fluency. So I encourage you guys, if it's not something that you have, I would encourage you to download that app for your kids. We had our middle school basketball championship game earlier in the month. Really, really great job by Diana Stein from our team in organizing this. Big shout out to 185 for winning the championship. We also had our girls all-star basketball game and championship game. We are one of very few districts in New York City that actually have this type of athletic program. So I'm really proud of that and the work that's being done there. And the fact that this has now been expanded to an all-girls team, I think is fantastic, and we're going to continue to expand on it over time. Celebrating Black History Month, always important for us as a district community to celebrate our Black leaders, current and in the past, to celebrate all of the achievements that they had to make our country a better place for our kids. So as the month has gone on, our schools have engaged their kids in different activities and tasks that are associated with Black History Month. So we appreciate them for that. And School Counselor Week was prior to, but we included it in here anyway because I wanted our parents to know that has come and gone. But we really do appreciate our counselors for what they do for our kids on a daily basis. it is really truly important work that they do, and I know that our kids do rely on them for supports. So last month I did talk to you about, in months previous, around arts funding. I just wanted to give you an update on the schools that are receiving residency support. So 130, 154, 164, 169, 184, 200, 209, 214, 242, 244, and the pre-K centers. This was organized based on the small amount of funding. It wasn't a lot, but we got about $80,000. And these schools were identified based on current budgets. So this was intended to provide it to schools that do not have what you would call exorbitant budgets, where they would be able to manage this on their own. So with my outreach to these schools, they've each identified a residency program that would be connected to either Flushing Town Hall, Studio in a School, or Arts Connection. So we're really happy about that. And there will be a couple of family events that I will announce shortly. I'm not ready to announce it today, but I will announce that there will be some family events that will be accessible. They will be hosted in some of our elementary schools in the form of performances and arts days for community. Now, unfortunately, Arts Connection only allows about 60 people to participate at one time. So these will not be huge events, but events nonetheless that will be made available to our families in the district. And there will be some Broadway show opportunities moving down towards the end of the year. We do not have a great deal of money, so it will be a handful of tickets at most, especially given the cost of Broadway show tickets today. But just to give you guys a heads up, we talked about it last month. This one is a little bit more in depth in terms of what's happening with those dollars and what schools are going to be receiving it. And just for your reference, as this happens, I'm hoping it happens again next year. Like I did this year, I will put it out to you guys and ask for any feedback that you have. And I encourage you to do it, because what I hear from you, I will do. A lot of these choices here were made based on feedback that I received from CEC and the parent group. Brought it to you, brought it to our DPAC. So please don't hesitate in sharing feedback in the future. Continuing to just mention our work with our chancellor, making sure that we're promoting safe, academically rigorous, and truly integrated programs for our kids inside of our schools, something that I do believe in as well. And as more comes out from our chancellor around additional things that he might want to see inside of our schools, I will certainly share it. Many of the things I talked about last month will continue to be a priority for us here in the district, including MTSS and our focus on New York City Reads and New York City Solves. Just quick update from our team. We hosted a stress management session that was presented by the Child Center of New York. We had over 100 parents that were on. The feedback that we received was really very, very positive. So my appreciation for the Child Center of New York for giving us their time. They did this free of charge just to make sure that our families felt supported. We have another session with Marble Health around improving family communication on March 10th. And I'm also excited that we've added 2 additional sessions that you see here in yellow. One on March 25th, promoting positive behavior at home. And on April 30th, helping your child develop friendships. Each of these items that you see here were all part of conversations that came out of the survey that you see to the right. And all important, and I know certainly as a dad and having a freshman and a junior, as they went through their elementary school years, you always want to make sure that your child is able to connect with someone else, and that they have that opportunity to build strong friendships and relationships with others. So that's really important. And I also know that sometimes, there are things that are happening at home that we wonder, oh my God, have I done the right thing? Why is my child talking to me like that? So it's, these sessions are here to support our families in if they are having some difficulty or need some feedback from a mental health professional on, these are just some approaches that might support you at home. So I encourage you guys to look into that, and we will be sharing flyers in the near future as well. So quick state of the district. Now that our MOY assessments are completed, give you a little bit of context in terms of where we are comparatively speaking Earlier in the month, this looked a little bit different. We were pretty much right exactly the same as last year. We have, with the last handful of children that did complete the assessment, we're about 1% off of where we were MOI to MOI this year, from this year to last year. One of the areas that is most concerning for us that we've talked about with all of our schools, and we're going to be doing a lot of digging deeper into, are 2 grades primarily. All grades, with the exception to the 2 grades I'm going to talk to you about right now, have demonstrated some improvement from last year to this year. But our 3rd graders that are now our 4th graders saw a little bit of a dip from last year to this year. And our 4th graders into 5th grade also saw a dip from one year to the next, which is causing this overall coming back to the mean of where we were last year. Each of the other grades did see some improvement, especially when we look year over year, which is really important. The one grade that I am excited about is our 3rd grade. Our 3rd graders are 9% higher this year at this time than they were last year. When we look at our 6th graders to 7th grade, there was a 6% difference, and the 7th graders to 8th grade, there's a 5% difference in terms of improvement. So we're seeing some growth across 4 of the 6 grades. We're going to be spending a lot of time over the last part of the year, not to say that the other grades are any less important, but we're just going to be a little bit more strategic around what we're seeing with those 2 grades in particular, because there was a bit of a difference in those 2 grades compared to last year. When we're looking at our overall demographic groups, again, similar to the overall with about a 1% change. Our students with IEPs saw a 2% improvement year over year. Our L's about a 3% improvement year over year. And then our targeted subgroups, our Black learners did decline by 1% comparatively to last year, and Hispanic learners improved by 1% comparatively to last year. So a lot more work that we have to do here to continue to reduce the gap. And in large part, this is going to be a group that we spend a lot of time on, and those are our multilingual learners, as that is our most significant need at this time, given the volume of children that we have that speak languages other than English. Now, our students in K-2 have seen progress year over year from 2023 to current. We are seeing that our children in kindergarten, when you look at kindergarten over the last 3 years, from the light blue to dark blue to the orange, we're about a 7% improvement from where we were 2 years ago to where we are now. Our children in 1st grade also seeing a bit of improvement. When we look at kindergarten from last year, it was at 51%, now it's at 60%. And our 2nd graders, around 65% of our children are currently on or above grade level. We want to continue to escalate that over time to make sure that our kids are reading by the time they get to the 3rd grade. And then moving from that space of reading to learn, from learning to read to reading to learn, so that our kids are really digging into that space of comprehension. So what we're finding is that we're certainly helping them to decode. Our decoding has improved significantly, but now it's from our kids being able to decode words to making meaning out of what it is that they're reading. So ensuring that they can read across the page with fluency. And I'm not sure about you, but even as adults sometimes, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, where you've read across the page and and you might be distracted and you're like, I'm not sure what I just read in that entire paragraph, and you have to go back to make sure that you can reread and really understand what you read. Similar type of things for kids that are decoding but not doing that fluently across a line. So these are things that we're going to continue to build upon for our kids, particularly our multilingual learners. But here are some positive trends. So in 2023, our L's, 18% of them were reading on or above grade level. This year, mid-year, it's 37%, which is a really positive change from where we were to where we are. And likewise for our students with IEPs, we were at 19% 2 years ago to 37% now. So we are seeing a positive trend in terms of our kids getting to grade level reading according to the Acadience assessment. Similarly, we're seeing a positive trend for our Black learners from 47% to 55%, and our Hispanic learners from 37 to 44. So we are seeing a positive trajectory for these target groups in our district. So More to follow on that towards the end of the presentation. I'll share a couple of things that we do have planned and we're organizing moving forward. So priority 2, we have not administered the mid-year survey for our kids. There was some feedback that we got from our kids and staff. So we're making some adjustments. We hope to get that out later this week to get some additional feedback from our learners on SEL. And that includes relationship building, which is one of the key components of our work that we're focused on this year as a district. So more to follow on that. As soon as we share out that survey, we should have it ready for you by the next time we meet in March. Mathematics, again, goal to improve by 5 to 10% for each of our targeted groups. What you'll see over time from the left to right, you'll see that we've been making progress over time for our students when it comes to mathematics, especially across grade levels. You'll see from left to right, from year over year, 1 year to the next, we're seeing a positive progression for our kids. With the exception to 8th grade, I do want to highlight that for you because you may look at it and say, well, Mike, what's going on in the 8th grade? So in 8th grade, you'll see that there is a big drop from 24-25 to 25-26. That's part and parcel because last year we did have students that were taking the Regents exam, also take iReady, which is skewing this a little bit. This year they just took the MAP assessment because it's more aligned. So we're missing a good 1,400 to 1,500 children out of the mix of this assessment. So that's why it looks a little bit askew when it comes to our math data. Across our subgroups, we are seeing positive trends moving forward. Having said that, there's still much to do for our kids to make sure we're proficient in math. Goal is to get ourselves over 70% of our kids meeting math standards this year. We are very, very close to that. Or we're very close to it this past year, and I'm hopeful that we will see that type of performance surpassed this school year. So more to do in mathematics, but we are moving in a positive direction. So Project Soapbox, we had and continue to have many of our children participate in Soapbox speeches and engage in the work to move towards that earning of 1 point towards the seal for civic readiness. And something I'll talk about more during the March session with everyone is the changes that are going to be happening at the state level when it comes to diplomas. There will be a shift that I will talk to you guys about our next session and start to get some feedback from you. And coming from the state, it's something that they're referring to as a portrait of a graduate, and what we would deem as appropriate for our kids to be ready to be high school and college ready. So part of that work is around including the seal for civic readiness as one of the elements that could be added to the diploma. There will be one diploma that is shared versus the many that are available now. So more to follow on this, and what I'm going to be asking you guys for is feedback as President's Council presidents. What would you want to say that a graduate looks like here in District 25? Obviously, we can't do that across through high school because I don't get to supervise our high school kids, but from elementary through middle school, what do we want to say that our kids are able to do by the time they leave us? And part for me is this space of taking action, and that our kids are using that voice in order to make positive changes around them. So we are well on our way. Our schools across our district are implementing our civics lessons, making sure that our children become civically minded and know how to use that voice to make positive changes. So this is happening across our schools, and I'm really happy about that. And my goal, as I said, is that our kids in 8th grade are ready to go to high school, earning that point. And there are many of our high schools across the city that are offering the seal for civic readiness, and we're giving them a head start on that here in District 25. So really excited about that, and looking forward to seeing how many of our kids are able to earn that by the end of the year. Safer College program. I know that at the beginning, Charlotte mentioned that we were around 40%. When January turned over, more kids became eligible, and unfortunately, our numbers went down to 37. So Want to make sure that we continue to message. I will continue to message at any opportunity I have, at any meeting I have. I will continue to extend messages through Gamma. Jenny has met with all of our parent coordinators so that our parent coordinators can do this at all of their sessions. And we're going to ask that our Safer College representatives make themselves available too at our meetings so that they can also express what it means for our families and how they can benefit from it. Just by registering, they're getting themselves a $100 starter and upwards of $150 if they complete a couple of tasks. So it's really, it's an opportunity that I want to continue to mention and make available to our families as the year goes on. $189,000 is what's currently not being used across our district, and I would much rather it be in our parents' and students' hands than it be just sitting there. So I'm going to continue to reference that as much as we possibly can, and we'll hopefully change that 37 to around a 50 by the end of the year. Parent engagement work. One of the things that we do have and our schools are working on, which we'll share a little bit more widely with you during our next session, but all of our schools are engaging our families in engagement workshops, in whether that's through open houses or welcoming Wednesdays, First Fridays, all of those types of events, aside from workshops around SEL and reading and mathematics. This is part of my expectation that our schools are engaging our families in this work. The more that we can do this, the better informed our families will be, so that we can increase response rates on the citywide survey, which is available to our parents as well to voice their opinions about what we're doing inside of our schools. So we will be sending a much more scaled down version of what we sent out at the beginning of the year. I know that at some point parents also get survey fatigue and is like, oh, here's another one. So we will scale it down, and I will be sending it to every parent's Gamma, hoping that we get a little, many more responses than what I originally got, which was a little over 1,000. Would love to have as many parents contribute as possible, because that's how our district sessions came about, was through that feedback. So the more our parents can communicate, the more we can do for you to keep you connected and informed. And lastly, I'm always going to talk about this because it's so super important, and that's chronic absenteeism. Our rates are unfortunately not moving in the most positive of directions. We were approaching nearly 96%, I want to say, of attendance rates in November-ish, and then from November to now, we're at 94.2% of our kids in attendance on a daily basis, which is good comparatively in the city. We are tied for second highest attendance rate in New York City amongst all of the districts. So comparatively, our kids are coming to school, which is fantastic, but we still have a lot of kids that are not in school with the regularity that is necessary for them to sustain their success. There's nearly a 20% difference in performance. I've shared this with you guys before. I'm going to keep sharing with you now. Our attendance coordinator is going to be touching base with our schools, and most need to revisit the current plan that they have in place and organizing things that they can do a little bit differently to hopefully promote more positive attendance in their buildings. Some of our schools do have very high chronic absenteeism rates, and others are very, very minimal in the single digits. So it's important that we continue to message the importance of being in school for so many reasons, but most importantly to make sure that our kids are reading by the time they move on beyond schooling with us in the 8th grade. So really super important. And now what are we doing? So there's going to be an ongoing focus using our district data dashboard. We have a very robust dashboard that allows us to break information down by standards and grade levels and subgroups. This was why I was able to highlight certain things for you that we really are zoning in on moving forward. Making sure that kids that we're calling our sprinters, so some of our families may have received a letter asking, letting them know that their child is going to participate in a sprint. These are particularly for children in grades 3 to 8 that are currently just on grade level or maybe a little bit below. to give them a little bit of additional practice in iReady for 30 to 45 minutes per week to make sure that we're building those muscles as much as we possibly can. We're going to continue to strengthen our early literacy, particularly focusing on those foundational skills, supports for our Ls and children with IEPs, particularly our standalone L programming and any intervention programs that we're using, i.e. Phonics for Reading, Spire, and Sound Sensible. And I already mentioned the revisiting of our chronic absenteeism plan as a community, and supporting our schools and refining how we're taking a look at our grades 4 and 5 to make sure that the kids that we're seeing that were on grade level last year at this time that might have dropped a little bit, to give them all that they need to help boost their supports to make sure that they're ready to go by the end of the year. And by no means is the state exam the only thing that we're preparing for. We want to make sure that our kids are good and ready for the next grade level. And part of that is making sure that they get enough practice with the text that's in front of them. The more eyes that we can have on text, the more and the more routinely our kids are reading, the greater the likelihood of them seeing success as readers moving forward. So that's where we are right now, and that concludes my my presentation for you tonight. Does anyone have any questions for me based on what I shared with you?
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Mike. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Listen, as always, guys, I appreciate you, and I thank you for being on here, especially on a day where you were cluttered up in in the home all day with the cooped up in the home all day with the snow that came. So I appreciate you guys for constantly supporting our district and our schools. And well, I do ask one thing: if you have any recommendations for our Wellness Day, things that you would like to see for us to make available. Please let us know, because it is a really cool day and we want to make it as supportive as possible. So I thank you guys as always, and I will be on listening in for the remainder. So if you need anything, I will be here.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Mike, and I hope you're staying safe and warm and get to the office safely tomorrow, because I know it's going to be treacherous out there still.
Yes, everyone be safe, and I'm really confident in our building leaders to make sure that our kids are good and taken care of as always.
Okay, so moving on our agenda, I would like to introduce Antonia Martinelli. She is with PTA Link, which is part of Appleseed, New York Appleseed. And she, PTA Link is a great source of support for parent leaders in the city. So Antonia, I'd like to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, and hello to everybody in District 25. Hello, Superintendent D'Antona and Jenny Chang. We've spoken a lot on our office hours, and I'm just really happy to be with you all today. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm gonna share my screen. Is that okay?
Yep, I made your co-host, so you should be able to share your screen.
Wonderful. Okay, and there we go. Everybody can see my presentation? All right, so I'm just going to give you guys a little introduction to PTA Link and what we can offer. So first off, who are we? My name is Antonia Martinelli, and I've been a parent leader for quite a long time. I started off as a PTA secretary at a middle school 88 in South Slope in District 15, and eventually I became PTA president, and then I was a member of my CEC in District 15 for 8 years, became president of that CEC, and I work for PTA Link, which is a project of New York Appleseed. We advocate for equitable, inclusive, and integrated schools, and we're dedicated to empowering parents and teachers and and principals and the entire school community. So everything that you need to know about running a PTA can be found on our website, ptalink.org. It was actually created by another parent named Rachel Fine, who was a PTA parent also in District 15. And she saw this real information disparity between PTAs. And this was long ago, before there were family leadership coordinators, before parent coordinators were a mandated position in the DOE. And she worked to create this website. It's free. It's there 24 hours a day. I know a lot of our parent leaders do a lot of their work maybe at 10 or 11 o'clock at night when some of these questions can't be answered by your parent coordinators. So please make use of our website. We are here to empower parent organizations, and how we do that is providing information and tools and support, because we believe that if a PTA is more knowledgeable, then it is going to be more accessible to its entire school community. It's going to advocate for the entire school body. And we think that when a PTA is more knowledgeable and accessible, they're going to be more effective. And so PTA Link likes to give PA PTAs the opportunity to share their best practices, their own successes and challenges across the entire city, so that we can make all of our PA PTAs knowledgeable, accessible, and thereby effective. So we feel that equal access to information reduces conflict. And we believe that information fosters PTAs that are in compliance with the rules. And when they're in compliance with the regs, that fosters continuity from year to year. People want to continue to do work on their PTA and pass the work on to others, and encourages others to participate. And maybe people who never thought of themselves as joining the PTA might see themselves in those roles, because their PTA is really working for the entire school community, and is a good functioning organization. Everybody wants to join organizations that are run well. And that participation across school community fosters positive family engagement, which encourages productive collaboration with the principal and the staff, which of course in turn reduces conflict. Okay. So we have articles on PTA Link that explain the regs in practical terms through real examples. The regs can be very dense. I find myself reading them multiple times a week. I can't count the number of times I've read A660, and I still forget things. I have to go back and read it over and over again. So we try to explain it in layman's terms. We provide direct support to parent leaders. We respond to questions during our weekly office hours or via email. And we often also have scheduled one-on-one calls with parent leaders. And we try to stay on top of all of the changes to the regs so that our website is up to date, so that you all know what's going on. We also give parent leaders the opportunity to share their ideas by writing articles to post on our website. So if anybody out there wants to share a success or a challenge that your PTA has worked on, we would love to publish it on PTA Link. So reach out to us if you'd like to partner in that way. We also create and distribute resources. There is a QR code here up on the screen for something we call PTA Year at a Glance. It's basically a calendar of to-do items for PA-PTAs. I kind of think of it as what to expect when you're expecting a PTA. So please take a look at that. Try and take a picture of the QR code if you can, if you're interested. And I want to highlight that we have resources on how to incorporate as a nonprofit organization and how to apply for 501c3 status. This is a question that we often receive. It's a very complex process. And it's one that the regs mandate PAPTAs retain an attorney to do if they choose to be a 501c3. So we refer parent leaders to other organizations because obviously retaining attorney costs money, but there are pro bono lawyers out there who can help you. And we refer people to New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. Their number is on the screen. It's 212-244-4664. And what happens is you will call them up. You will explain that you're a PTA and you would like to go through the process of becoming a 501c3. And they'll ask you to apply for their pro bono services. They will take a little time to review your application. I'm not sure how long, maybe a month or two, and then they will hopefully select you for a pro bono attorney. They will assign you to somebody and that you can work with to hopefully become a 501c3. PTA Link also schedules not private, but presentations. We are available to attend your PTA meetings. We table at events. We were just at Queens North High School's event with the Queens High School President's Council in January at Queensborough Hall. We do webinars tailored to the questions of your PTAs and president's councils. So please contact us at info@ptalink.org to schedule one of those. This is a webinar that is coming up next month, Thursday, March 26th at 7 p.m. Elections are around the corner. So we're going to have a family leadership coordinator from District 21, Georgette Petzolante, and some of our CPAC leaders are going to come and share all of their knowledge about running PTA elections. And then all of our webinars, they're all recorded and they can all be found on our YouTube page. We recently had a webinar a few weeks ago on PTA finances, and your co-president, Rachel, was one of our guest speakers. It was a really interesting topic. We had somebody who is a tax expert speak and somebody who works for a bank. We really got into the nitty gritty of PTA finances. And then back in December, we did a grants and funding webinar with Tracy Kaufman from Candid. Lots of great tips about applying for grants, corporate grants, applying for other sources of discretionary funding and RESOA funding through your borough president or your city councilman's office. So that was a really good webinar. And please go to our YouTube page and check them out. We have office hours every Thursday at 10 a.m. You can get the QR code here. It will take you right to the Zoom call. It's really an open conversation. I never know who's going to show up. I have PTA leaders from all over the city, parent coordinators, family leadership coordinators, all sort of join randomly. I never know what the questions are going to be, but it's really interesting to see people from all districts have these conversations and share their knowledge. And some of the questions I wanted to share some with you today that have come up, and we've gotten the answers to them and put them out on our newsletter. So the first question I've got up here is candy permitted at the monthly PTA fundraiser of non-approved food items during the school day, as long as it's outside the cafeteria? First, I'm just going to tackle the monthly PTA fundraiser question. I'm sure you all know that there is a waiver that allows PAPTAs to have more than one monthly fundraiser during school hours. You can actually have 14 in total over the course of the year. But this waiver does expire on June 26th of this year. And we don't know if they're going to extend that. It'll be interesting to see. But aside from that waiver, no, candy remains prohibited for sale to students during the school day. PTAs may sell other non-approved food items like baked goods during the approved fundraisers, but of course, the bake sales may not take place in the cafeteria. Second question, must our PAPTA have an executive board member on school grounds during a virtual meeting? This person was actually conflating virtual and hybrid meetings. So no, a PTA can hold a completely virtual meeting. You don't have to have anybody in person. The requirement to have one in-person executive board member on site just pertains to the hybrid meetings. Our PTAs they can choose. Your autonomous bodies. You're not subject to open meetings law, so you can have a completely in-person, a completely virtual, or the hybrid forum. But if you do have the hybrid meeting, you have to have the one executive board member on school grounds. And if there is a location that is accessible to people with disabilities, that is where that executive board meeting has to hold the in-person portion of the hybrid meeting. Our PTA would like to have a fundraiser in which parents pay a fee to rent a table and bring toys, household items, etc., to sell. The PTA would receive a percentage of sales. Would this be considered a flea market under A650? So, unfortunately, it probably would trigger an A650 flea market type requirement because of the percentage of sales style. So instead, we recommend that parents consider donating these goods directly to the PTA so that the PTA can then sell them and all the proceeds just go directly to the PTA. And last question, can PAPTAs use Zelle? You can accept money, donations through Zelle, but you cannot make payments through Zelle. Chancellor's regs prohibit the PAPTA from making payments through person-to-person or instant payment systems. However, they may receive donations and payments through these systems. And I'll just put my contact information on the screen. Lots of ways to connect. info@ptalink.org. My direct email is A. Martinelli at newyorkappleseed.org. Please look at our websites, ptalink.org, and also our parent organization, newyorkappleseed.org. And consider subscribing to our newsletters. You can go to this QR code The newsletter is a great resource. That's how we let everybody know about our webinars. And every time we get a great question, we answer it in our Q&A section on our newsletter. We put out lots of great resources through the newsletter. So please go to that QR code and subscribe. And I'll take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Antonia. If anyone has questions, they can either unmute and ask their question directly, or you can put it in the chat, whichever you prefer. I don't see any questions in the chat. Well, thank you so much for being here this evening. As I mentioned, you're a great resource. PTAlink.org is a fantastic resource for all sorts of things PTA related. And we appreciate you coming here tonight to talk about it.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for joining our webinar and being a guest speaker. You were a fantastic guest speaker.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Sure. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the snow.
Okay, so moving on our agenda for tonight. Next we have our president of our District 25 CEC, Eden. Eden, I turn the floor over to you.
Hey guys. Hope everyone's staying warm. I know it's not fun out there. Just quickly wanted to go over next Wednesday, we will have our monthly meeting. This meeting, we're going to have some resolutions that we're voting on again. We do have a new CEC member, thanks to Veronica for being on for that interview. We were able to elect somebody pretty quickly. We will have a presentation from New York City Kids Rise. We also will have a presentation going on about state testing and how to get kids ready. Dr. Mike's been talking about the soapbox speeches. We will be having another soapbox speech. And then we will also be going into our business meeting to talk further about our awards ceremony, as we are in the planning stages of that. So as soon as we have more information of that, I'll let you guys know the date and which school we choose, as we have to talk with Dr. Mike about that. But we'd love to see people there. So I'll keep everyone updated. But does anybody have any questions for me while I have you? Awesome. Well, stay warm. Be safe tomorrow getting to school. And I will see you all soon.
Thank you, Eden. Same to you. Be safe tomorrow getting your kids to school. Okay, so Jenny, you want to pull up the slides?
Yep, we have some PAPT reminders. I'm gonna go straight to the reminders. Oh, these are the CEC meeting dates for your review. The next one will be on March 4th, Wednesday, March 4th, 7 p.m. Okay, Rachel?
So just hopefully this will be your last reminder. Your interim report for this school year was due by January 31st. Well, the 30th was the last school day. You had until the 31st to submit that report. Again, it covers the time period of July 1st, 2025 through January 15th, 2026. On the next slides, you'll see the actual report itself. If you have not done it yet, please do it as soon as possible. It does need to be signed by the treasurer and the president and submitted to the principal, as well as the parent coordinator, so that the parent coordinator does submit this form to the district through SPLCI. And then also the report needs to be shared and reviewed with the general membership at the next monthly meeting. So if it's not been done yet, you'll want to make sure and do it at your next meeting, prior to your next meeting, so that you can review that information for the general membership, so that they can see where all the money is coming from and where it's going to. So they can see the income as well as the expenses for the school year as of thus far. And so this is the first page of the report where you'll list item by item the amount brought in for each fundraiser. You'll start with the beginning balance. Again, that needs to match what's the bank on the bank statements. You'll outline all amounts brought in for membership dues, and then list all of your fundraisers with the total amount of income for the entire period. And then this is where you'll list your expenses and total your expenses. And then you'll have your fund balance as of January 15th, 2026, which again must match the balance in the bank account as of January 15th, 2026. And this form again needs to be signed and forwarded to the principal and shared with your members. And just a reminder about PTA Link's office hours, which they just shared. You can follow them also on Facebook, Instagram, X. They are active on social media, so you can follow them as well.
Just want to tell Antonio, I share this with the parent coordinator too every Wednesday afternoon, so they have it ready for Thursday morning. Rachel, I can talk about the DPAC meeting. So the next
Okay.
DPAC meeting will be this coming Wednesday. This is for all Title I schools parent leaders as the Title I PAC chair and alternate. We also have guest speakers coming, and we have invited Turbobo, Ryan Meal. He's the founder and the CEO of Turbobo. He will be coming and talking about the Turbobo doll itself and a parent parent program that's linked to its the doll and their program. So Turbobo and everyone, you guys have, feel free to join the DPAC meeting if you would like to. It takes place via Zoom, 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And the next President's Council meeting will take place on Monday, March 16. On Monday, March 16, we have invited Include NYC to join us as one of the guest speakers, and we will still go over the PAPTA elections and nomination committee.
So if you have any questions for President's Council, there's our email there, d25pc1@gmail.com. Also, the link to the President's Council's main page on the district website, where you can always access that email address. You can access recordings of previous meetings. If you miss one, you can also access documents that are shared, such as this presentation, Dr. Mike's presentation. The minutes from each meeting are all available on the President's Council page on the district website.
Rachel, do you mind if I go back to the financial interim report? Because me and Louis also keep a copy. Hold on, let me go back. At the district level for audit purposes, and sometimes we do receive a copy where it's not signed or dated, so I have to return back to the parent coordinator, then have to reach out to you for a signature or date. Just make sure it's signed and dated before you give a copy to your parent coordinator. They have to input it into SBLCI, and we also keep a copy for audit purposes. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay, now we'd like to open up the floor if anyone has any questions for anything that's going on in your schools. Any questions that you might have thought of for Dr. Mike or any of our presenters? Okay, well, we want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy day. I'm sure it was more hectic than usual, having all of our kids home all day. Hopefully they got to have some fun in the snow. But we would like to then bring the February President's Council meeting to a close. If I could get someone to motion to adjourn the meeting and state your name for the minutes.
I motion to adjourn. Annie, Junior High School 185.
Thank you, Annie. If someone could second the motion and state your name for the minutes. Lisa Lamb seconds through the chat. It is 7:47 and the February meeting of President's Council is officially adjourned. Thank you all for attending and for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you at our March meeting. Again, that's on Monday, March 16th. And have a great night. Be safe, be warm, and be careful getting to and from school tomorrow and the rest of the week, because I hear we have more snow in our future. So good night, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone.